Dear students, I hope you are all well and studying in your home. Last week we discussed about the different conditions for photosynthesis. Today we start the mechanism of photosynthesis. So as you know, mesophyll cells, palisade and spongy cells in the leaves are the main center of photosynthesis. Okay. In last chapter we also discussed that palisade and spongy cells which are found in the leaves are the main site of photosynthesis. During daytime, the chlorophyll molecules trap solar energy. This trapped energy is utilized for the synthesis of organic compounds such as glucose using CO2 and H2O as inorganic ingredients. Oxygen gas is evolved as a byproduct of this process. The overall reaction that takes place in photosynthesis can be expressed as follows. So if you see, the equation of photosynthesis is 6CO2 plus 12H2O in the presence of sunlight with the help of chlorophyll. They make C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. The six molecules of water liberated in the equation above are those that are reformed during a chain of reactions and not out of the original ones. Okay, the process of photosynthesis is not a single step process, rather, it involves many steps. The various steps which are involved in the photosynthesis are divided into two distinct but related phases. First is light or Hill reaction or photochemical phase or light dependent phase. Next is dark or Blackman's reaction or biosynthetic phase or light independent phase. So first one is light or Hill reaction or photochemical phase or light independent phase. So first we read about light or Hill reaction. This is also known as photochemical phase or light dependent phase. This process occurs in the thylakoids of chloroplast in the presence of sunlight, hence its name light reaction. So it means light is necessary for happening this reaction. It is mainly concerned with the formation of NADPH or reducing power and ATP. These compounds constitute the assimilating power. Another end product formed as byproduct is O2. It involves the following steps. So oxygen also liberate in this process or in this reaction. First is excitation of chlorophyll. The chlorophyll on exposed to light absorbs radiant energy as photons, smallest unit of light energy, and becomes activated. So first step for this reaction is chlorophyll just on exposure of light absorbs radiant energy as photons. Next is photolysis of water. Splitting of water molecules into H ion and OH minus ion with the help of light energy is called photolysis of water. Okay, so hydroxyl ion, and you can say that first H ion is one proton and one hydroxyl ion or hydronium ion or hydroxyl ion. Okay, so splitting of water with the help of light energy is called photolysis of water. The radiant energy from sunlight is absorbed by the chlorophyll and is transformed into chemical energy. This chemical energy is capable of splitting water into H ion and OH minus. So you can see this is the process of or equation of photolysis of water. So next is production of molecular O2. The hydroxyl ion produced as a result of photolysis of water are oxidized to water and oxygen. It must be very clear that the whole of oxygen released during photosynthesis is from the water molecules. No molecule of O2 is released from CO2. Okay, so this is the main foot point for your study, that the whole oxygen released during photosynthesis is from the water molecules, not from carbon dioxide. So There's production of reducing agent. Okay, 4 hydroxyl ion, they uh, 4 electrons are released in this process, and then from for next 4 OChan to H2O plus O2 is evolved. Next phase is photophosphorylation. Production of energy rich ATP molecules from ADP molecules with the help of energy from electrons released in photolysis of water by adding one phosphate group in organic phosphate is called photophosphorylation. The electrons available in the above reaction are picked up by certain electron carriers. Okay, so you can say that in this photophosphorylation, ATP molecules are you can say produced. When the electrons pass through these carriers, they dissipate energy. This energy is utilized in the formation of energy-rich compound ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. So you can see that production of reducing agent NADP plus it take electrons and 2H ion, it is formed to NADPH. So end result of the production of light reaction is NADP plus H ion, it forms NADPH, and two molecules of oxygen is evolved, and ATP ADP plus inorganic phosphate it forms ATP. This is phosphorylation, addition of phosphate, and since it occurs in the presence of light, hence called photophosphorylation. Okay. Next phase is dark or black man's reaction or biosynthetic phase or light independent phase. In dark phase, CO2 is reduced to glucose by means of energy and reduced power NADPH produced during light reaction. For dark reaction, there is no need of light, hence called dark reaction. Okay, it means not that it called dark reaction, it happens only night only. It can be occur in daytime also. You can say the effect of light is not for this reaction. This process occurs in the stroma of chloroplast. Okay, as in thylakoids occur light reaction, in stroma occur dark reaction. In this phase, following things occur. First is fixation of CO2 or reduction of CO2 to glucose. In this process, CO2 is reduced or fixed to glucose with the help of a chain from NADPH produced in light reaction. The energy required for this process is provided by the ATP, also produced in light reaction. This synthesis occurs in a number of steps, each catalyzed by a specific enzyme. In this process, CO2 enters into a cycle of reaction, starting with ribulose biphosphate. At the end of the cycle, glucose is synthesized and ribulose biphosphate is regenerated. Melvin Kelvin and Andy Benson discovered this cycle, hence also called as Kelvin-Benson cycle. The overall reaction of this phase can be summarized as: so 6 molecules of this ribulose phosphate react with 6 carbon dioxide molecules, and 18 ATP molecules plus 12 NADPH are required for this process, and 12 HN. So this is the overall reaction. The glucose molecule C6H12O6 is a simple sugar readily soluble in water. As you know, the fixation of CO2 to glucose take place in the stroma of chloroplasts. Highly simplified summary of various events that occur during photosynthesis can be represented as in table 5.1. So you can see that in light reaction, okay, uh, in the membranes of thylakoid of chloroplast occur. Okay, so in this process, hydrolysis of water occur. Okay, first is excitation of chlorophyll, then in electron carrier system pass through chlorophyll, and this from this H2O oxygen is evolved, and in dark reaction you can see that this first product is CO2 glucose ribose biphosphate. Okay, it forms glucose and then it converted into starch, and NADPH and ATP, you already know that these are the energy provider for this reaction. As we already discussed that dark reaction does not mean that it take place at night or in dark section. Okay, so it does not require light energy. So formation of starch and other organic compounds. The process by which several molecules of glucose are transformed to produce one molecule of starch is called polymerization. Okay, the starch is insoluble in water. It is used for storage of food in the plant cells. In some plants, glucose is converted into sucrose or other sugars. Okay, so these are the processes, and in next class we will read about the fate of end products of photosynthesis. Till here, if you find any confusion to understand this process, you can ask to me. Thank you.